Hi everyone. Today we're going to look into another topic, which is negotiation skills. Previously we have discussed on conversation, so the introduction, developing the main ideas. So this time we're going to look into negotiation skills. So negotiation is actually a part of conversation. So when we have a conversation, every single conversation will set a different purpose. So one of the purposes could be to negotiate or to get a deal. So let's take a look into negotiation skills. The first part that we're going to discuss will be under introduction. So introduction requires our first elementary understanding. It is basically about the concept of negotiation. What is negotiation? A negotiation is actually a process. Whether we notice or we don't notice that it is actually happening, it is usually happens between two different parties, or it can be more, in getting the needs, goals, or desire completed or become mutual. So we want to set an understanding and comprehensive discussion, and at the end of a discussion, which we call as negotiation, um, the objective of the discussion is achieved. So if you refer to Longman Dictionary, negotiation is an official discussion. So it is considered as official because it is actually a representative of two opposing groups. So basically these two groups, each of the group, they do not bring the same um, um, offers, and each of them would like to satisfy a certain standard of need. So that's why it is said that opposing groups. So we have, I mean, if there are like two or three people in a discussion when it involves negotiation, so each of us would have our own aims, and at the end of the discussion we would like to achieve the things that we have set. So what will be the purposes of a negotiation? One, it can resolve an argument. So if there is an argument over certain things or any opinions, so at the end of it, it is hoped that everyone gets to agree with one solution or one decision. It also about a produce agreement, so it is very much related to the agreement just now. So an agreement, maybe we don't argue, but then at the end we can achieve the same stand. It's a win-win situation. Bargain, especially if you would like to have something for yourself, or it can be a company, it can be a group of people. So at the end, we can get something that we want. Usually it is related to something, a product or items that is expensive. So when we bargain, most of the time it's about prices. So we can get an item based on the price that we agree upon. And lastly, it's about provide satisfaction and peace. So this is the most crucial part. We don't want any argument or dissatisfaction. We want to achieve the same stand at the end, and hopefully it is done peacefully. So what are the things that contribute to the failure of negotiation? One is when someone becomes too emotional. So I know that when it comes to negotiation, it is about getting something or fulfilling a need. So people can get too emotional at times, focus on personalities, non-issues. So it is more on the attitude. Some people can be very angry easily. Some people can come when they have the discussion. So that is why people have the tendency to observe the personalities rather than focus on the issues or the agreement that they would like to achieve. Not trying to understand the other person, because people can be very self-centered and they focus for their achievement and they focus on their goal to be achieved at the end of the discussion, so they have the tendency to ignore people's need, wanting to win at all costs. So this is especially referring to those who are very ambitious, those who are very aggressive and active. They would want to win the discussion, even though this is, I mean, over small things regarding negotiation as confrontational. So they can say that negotiation is a debate, is a competition rather than a discussion or the process of achieving to an agreement. So now we are moving to the techniques of negotiation. We're going to look into the steps. What are the procedures or the processes that involve when it comes to negotiation? The first part that you have to adapt or adopt when it comes to a negotiation would be having greetings. So this is very common, not just in negotiation. I do believe that we have to practice greetings when it comes to conversation or any communication. So why exactly it is important? Because we actually set a very positive starting point, and it will develop to a better or good relationship with other parties. So we are actually providing a very positive and a very conducive environment for people to work with us. When greeting members, you can consider these expressions. So when you first meet someone, maybe you can ask about other people's being. How do you do? Pleased to meet you. And when it comes to the second meeting, or it is a repetitive or not the first meeting anymore, so you can say something like, it is good to see you again. And you can always welcome the other speakers or the other members of the discussion. It's a pleasure to meet you here. We are delighted to have you here. So you are setting a very conducive discussion, a good start for others to be in. So when starting the negotiation, maybe if you are not common or you are not familiar with the others, you can start off by having the ice breaking, the self-introduction. You can introduce yourself, and if you are the head representative of the group or the team, maybe you can introduce the others as well. Besides, a small talk will be helpful, in which you can have a very small chat, a small talk about the current issues, like what the one that we are having at the moment would be the COVID-19. Maybe you would like to ask about other people's whereabouts or other people's being in such situation, to start off a very warm conversation. When starting the negotiation, you can also ask questions. Not a problem to have a start, because people are very alien to each other. So you need something that is very welcoming, very, I mean, to sit and to set yourself in a very friendly situation. And you need to state your position. Here, there are two strategies that you can apply. The first one would be the hold back, and second would be the getting feedback. So when you hold back and you don't offer immediately um, to the other party, so you will save the best over the last, because you want to see how it goes, and allow the other parties to follow us and give comments. It is a mutual conversation or communication. So mutual means we expect people to also provide response instead of you are the one who dominates the situation or the conversation all the time. So people should be allowed or should be welcomed to give out their opinion so that they will feel that they have the voice in the communication or the conversation. These are the examples of the expressions. You can take a look at it. So when you want to start a conversation or you want to start the process of negotiation, you can give such expression to be the clue for the other parties. Focus. So you want to drag the other attentions, the attentions of others to the main discussion, and you also should welcome responses. You can ask something like, are there any questions? Would you like to comment or correspond to that? Do you have any comments regarding to the matter? And so on. And last but not least, we have to look into turn taking, and this is one of the important parts that we have discussed earlier. Especially when it comes to your speaking activities, speaking assessment later. So turn taking would be a very good view of a positive conversation that you are setting. Number 4, the technique would be clarifying. So this is very important to ensure that the information is delivered clearly. So one, it requires someone to listen, and second, when you want to clarify, you allow questions to be asked, or you yourself ask for questions. So when it comes to listening, it's about understanding the others. So it's not about a one side winning. It should be a winning situation. So you need to ask what the other party wants. So you need to understand their situation, develop arguments. So this is to respond to their needs. It's not you just to win, but it's you to get a fair discussion and results. So show a sympathy. So it's not about you, it's also about the other party as well. So that's why I keep on mentioning about a win-win situation, because it is about an agreement, and at the end everyone is satisfied and everyone is happy with the decision that is made. So you need to show respect for what other people say, because in a negotiation, it's not just about you giving to people, it's about people giving to you. So that's why respect should be earned. Asking questions, so ask useful questions in order to confirm the information delivered. It's not just a matter of you asking people the questions, so you need to open up to any questions or any vague information or something cloudy. So some people, they might need your further explanation, they might want you to give examples, or they want you to understand certain things at certain points. So that is why people ask. So do not be too pessimistic. Is it the word? So do not be too negative when it comes to questions. Sometimes people do not ask you to get you down. People ask you because they really want to know about things. So these are some of the expressions. So you can confirm negotiation position, you can ask for clarification, and you can also just ask questions in general, like, can I ask questions about this task, right? And there are also expressions when it comes to confirming. So that's right, exactly, yes, I would. Clarifying, there are ways of, some phrases are given here, so you can take a look at them. And bargaining. So bargain is another way another technique. Yeah, so it is more of like price. So if you want a lower price, so you will ask people to provide you a better offer instead of the high price. So there are ways of doing it. You can ask, you can accept the offer, you can also refuse the offer, but everything should be done positively, in a very positive manner. Politeness is the key when it comes to negotiation. And do not forget to end a negotiation positively. So it is more of setting a very positive environment from the beginning until the end. It's not just after you get what you want, you just put a full stop at it. And it is best to summarize the deal. So you need to recap of what you have discussed so that everyone understands the same thing. And it's not like when you leave the discussion, so everyone understands in their own ways. And check for any future meeting. If there's a need, you need to have another meeting, because when it comes to conversation or negotiation, so people, they don't just have a full stop. Usually afterwards, after the process of negotiation, there will be another process. So you need to keep everything on track, and you have to make sure that there's no ambiguity. There will be no unclear situation. And if you do, so that is why future meeting is very important to be set. And these are the references. Thank you very much for listening to the lecture. Please proceed with the next part, which is the activity. I really hope that you understand the lecture. If you don't, then you are welcome to ask questions. Thank you.